The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was never quiet, but today it felt different. 47 species had gathered, and the noise of their talking filled the massive space. Some spoke with voices, others used lights, and a few made sounds that hurt human ears. But they all had the same message. They were angry at humanity. Tae-ho Kim stood at the human table. His black suit looked simple compared to the bright clothes and strange bodies around him. He was 60 years old, with gray hair and calm eyes. Behind him sat two other humans. Dr. Bora Park wore her white lab coat even here. She was small, but her eyes were sharp. Admiral Woo Jin Lee sat straight in his blue uniform. His face showed no fear. At the front of the hall, Council Prime Veltharion raised his forearms. He was tall and green, with skin that looked like tree bark. His voice was deep and loud. We are here today to talk about the human problem. The word problem made Tae-ho's jaw tight, but he did not move. He had been a diplomat for 30 years. He knew how to wait and listen. Veltharion continued. 50 years ago, humans first came to the stars. They asked to join our council. We said yes because they seemed peaceful. We were wrong. A sound like angry bees filled the hall. Many aliens were agreeing. Tae-ho looked at them one by one. The Xanthari had blue skin and 3 eyes. They controlled 30 star systems. The Melkari looked like big cats but walked on 2 legs. They were traders and bankers. The Ophidian Collective were snake-like beings who shared one mind across their whole species. All of them were afraid of humans. Look at what humans have done, said Veltharion. He waved his hand and a big screen appeared in the air. It showed a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked human colonies. There were so many red dots that parts of the map looked like they were bleeding. 200 systems in 50 years, Veltharion said. No species has ever grown this fast. The Xanthari took 1,000 years to claim 30 systems. The Melkari needed 800 years for their trade network. But humans spread like a disease. Bora Park's hands made fists, but she stayed quiet. Tae-ho put his hand on her arm. Not yet. A Xanthari stood up. Its 3 eyes blinked in different patterns. Their ships move wrong, it said in a voice like metal scraping. Our best science says nothing can go faster than quantum drives. But human ships do. They break the rules of space itself. That's not all, said a Melkari. Its cat-like face was angry. They changed dead worlds into garden planets in 20 years. It took us 300 years to change one world. They do it faster than should be possible. More aliens spoke up. Each one had a new fear about humans. Their computers were too smart. Their weapons were too powerful. Their people lived too long. They learned too fast. They built too much. Admiral Lee finally spoke. His voice was quiet but clear. We have shared our technology freely. We have helped your people. We have asked for nothing but the right to grow. Grow? The word came from an Ophidian. Its snake body was as thick as a tree trunk. You don't grow. You explode across the galaxy like a bomb. You make the rest of us look weak. And your technology, said another Xanthari. You won't tell us how it really works. You give us pieces, but not the whole truth. Bora Park could not stay quiet anymore. She stood up. We share what we can, but some things are dangerous if used wrong. We learned that the hard way. See? Said Veltharion. They think they are better than us. They think we cannot handle their great technology. The hall filled with angry sounds again. Tae-ho looked around and saw fear in every alien face. Fear and jealousy and something else. Hatred. He had seen this before. In human history, when one group grew strong fast, others would try to stop them. Wars had been fought for less. But this was not just one planet. This was the whole galaxy. Veltharion hit his staff on the floor. The sound was like thunder. We have made a decision. The council has voted. Humanity must choose. The hall went quiet. Even the aliens who talked with lights stopped moving. First choice, said Veltharion. Submit to council control. You will stop all expansion, no new colonies, no new ships. Every piece of human technology will be shared with the Council. Every human world will have Council watchers. You will do nothing without our permission. Te-Ho. Felt cold. They were asking humans to become slaves. Second choice, said Veltharion. Face the consequences. No alien species will trade with you. No one will sell you anything or buy from you. Your ships will not be allowed in our space. If you refuse to obey, we will use force. The threat was clear. Submit or be destroyed. Admiral. Lee's voice was like ice. You would go to war with us? If needed, said Veltharion. We have 46 species. You have 1. We have thousands of ships. You have hundreds. The choice should be easy. But Te-Ho was not thinking about ships or weapons. He was thinking about his daughter on New Sol. She was a teacher there helping human children learn about the stars. She had never hurt anyone. None of the human colonists had. They just wanted to build homes and raise families and explore new worlds. The aliens wanted to take that away. They wanted to cage humanity because humans were different. Because humans were successful. Dr. Park was looking at her tablet. Her fingers moved fast, sending messages. Te-Ho knew she was talking to other human scientists across the galaxy. Good. They needed to know what was happening here. You ask us to choose, said Te-Ho. He stood up slowly. Every eye in the hall was on him. But you have already chosen. You choose fear over friendship. You choose control over cooperation. Do not lecture us, human, said Veltharion. You are one species among many. You must learn your place. Our place? Te-Ho smiled, but it was not a happy smile. Perhaps we must. The hall was quiet again. Aliens leaned forward, waiting for his answer. We need time to consider your offer, said Te-Ho. How much time? Asked Veltharion. 30 days. Veltharion looked at the other council leaders. They made quick signals to each other. Finally, he nodded. 30 days. Then you must choose. Submit or face the consequences. Te-Ho bowed his head slightly. We understand. As the council meeting ended, aliens filed out in groups. Some looked angry. Others looked worried. A few looked almost sad. But none of them looked at the humans as friends anymore. Bora Park packed her tablet carefully. They're really going to do it, she said quietly. They're going to try to control us. Admiral Lee checked his watch. 30 days? Not much time. Te-Ho watched the last aliens leave the hall. Soon only the 3 humans remained in the huge space. The silence felt heavy. Time enough, said Te-Ho finally. Time enough to show them what humanity really is. He did not know it yet, but in 30 days the galaxy would never be the same again. What humanity really is. He did not know it yet, but in 30 days the galaxy would never be the same again. 3 days after the council meeting, every human leader in the galaxy was talking at the same time. The emergency session of the Terran Assembly had never been this big before. Not just Earth's leaders sat in the Great Hall in Sol, but colony. Governors from 200 worlds spoke through quantum communication screens. President Kyung-Soo Jang stood at the center podium. He was a big man with kind eyes, but today he looked tired. The weight of humanity's future was on his shoulders. You all know why we are here, he said. His voice carried to every human world at the same time. The Galactic Council has given us a choice. Submit to their control or face war. The screens around the room showed angry faces. Governor Min-Ho Shin from the outer colonies spoke first. They want to make us their pets. No more exploring. No more building. No more growing. Just sit quiet and do what they say. It's worse than that, said Admiral Young-Mi Choi. She was small but tough with scars on her hands from her days as a fighter pilot. I've looked at their military strength. They have more ships, but most are old designs. Their crews have not fought real wars in hundreds of years. They have grown soft. Governor Ha-Jin Yu from New Busan shook her head. Numbers still matter, Admiral. If all 46 species attack us together, we cannot win. Maybe we don't need to win, said Minister of Technology Hana Lim. She was young for her job, only 35, but her mind was the sharpest in human space. Maybe we just need to not lose. President Jiang turned to her. Explain. Hana touched her tablet, and the room's screens changed. They showed technical drawings that looked like magic, ships that bent space around them, machines that could move planets, computers that thought like humans but faster. The Council thinks they know what human technology can do, Hana said. They are wrong. What we have shared with them is like showing a child a few letters and thinking they know how to write books. The room went quiet. Even the colony governors stopped talking. Our quantum drives don't just go faster than their ships, Hana continued. They work outside normal space. We fold reality around us and step between the folds. Their science cannot even see how we do it. Admiral Lee, who had come straight from the Council station, leaned forward. What about our terraforming? Hana smiled. We don't just change dead worlds. We use controlled black holes the size of marbles. We can make a star burn brighter or dimmer. We can move planets if we need to. Dr. Bora Park appeared on one of the screens from her lab on Mars. And our AI is not artificial intelligence at all. We learned 30 years ago how to copy human minds into quantum computers. Every AI we have is really a human consciousness that can think at the speed of light. The silence in the room was complete now. Even the colony governors were staring. Why? Didn't you tell us this before? Asked President Jiang. Because it's dangerous, said Bora. If other species knew we could copy minds, they would panic. If they knew we could move planets, they would try to stop us. If they knew our ships could go anywhere instantly, they would never sleep safely again. Governor Min Ho Shin laughed, but it was not a happy sound. So we have been hiding our true power all along. We have been trying to be good neighbors, said Hana. We shared what we could safely share. We helped when we could. We asked for nothing but space to grow, and this is what they give us in return. President Jiang walked slowly around the room. Each screen showed human colonies across the galaxy, families living on new worlds, children playing under alien suns, scientists making discoveries that would change everything. What are our options? He asked. Admiral Choi spoke first. We could fight. With our real technology, we might win, but it would be bloody. Millions would die. We could submit, said Governor Yu. Accept their control and hope they treat us fairly. They won't, said Minister Lim. They're afraid of us now, afraid people always hurt what they fear. President Jiang stopped walking. What else? The room was quiet for a long moment. Then Dr. Park spoke from her screen. We could leave. Everyone turned to look at her image. She continued quietly. We have the technology. We don't need the galactic trade networks. We don't need their space lanes. We could take our people and go somewhere they cannot follow. Go where? Asked Admiral Lee. Everywhere, said Dr. Park. Space is big. The galaxy is huge. We could find empty regions and build our own civilization. One without fear, one without councils that make decisions for others. Governor Shin was nodding. The outer colonies would support this. We came to the frontier to be free. We won't give up that freedom now. But what about trade? Asked Governor Yu. What about resources? What about all the connections we have made? We don't need them, said Minister Lim. Our replicators can make anything we need from basic atoms. Our fusion reactors can power whole worlds. Our quantum networks can connect our colonies instantly across any distance. Admiral Choi was looking at tactical displays. It could work. We could evacuate all human colonies in a few months, take everything important and leave the rest. Leave the rest for who? Asked President Jiang. For them to remember us by, said Dr. Park. Let them see what happens when they choose fear over friendship. The debate went on for hours. Colony governors asked hard questions. Military leaders talked about logistics. Scientists explained technologies that sounded like magic. But slowly, one by one, the human leaders began to agree. They could leave. They could take their people and their technology and find a new home among the stars. A home where humans could grow without fear, where children could dream without limits. where the only counsel that mattered was the human heart. President Jiang called for a vote at sunset. The result was not close. Every human world voted the same way. Every colony governor agreed. Every military leader supported the decision. Humanity would leave. That night, President Jiang sent a message to Ambassador Taiho at the council station. It was short and simple. Tell them we have made our choice. We decline their oversight. We are walking away. Taiho read the message 3 times. Then he smiled for the first time in days. He walked to the council communications center and sent a reply to all 46 alien species at once. The human response to your ultimatum is simple. We choose freedom over submission. We choose dignity over safety. We decline your oversight. We are walking away. The message was only 30 words long, but it changed the galaxy forever. On Earth, President Jiang looked out his window at the lights of Seoul. Soon those lights would go out. Soon the great city would be empty. Soon all of humanity would be moving toward something new. He was not sad. He was excited. For the first time in 50 years, humans would be completely free again. Free to grow, free to explore, free to become whatever they were meant to become. The aliens had given humanity a choice between slavery and war. Humanity had chosen something else entirely. They had chosen to evolve. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. 72 hours after humanity's message, every human structure in space began to move. Ships that had been docked for years suddenly came alive. Space stations that had orbited planets for decades started folding into themselves like metal flowers closing for the night. Even the great shipyards above Earth began to disappear piece by piece. Chief Engineer Do Young Kang stood on the bridge of the mobile command ship Sejong. She was 43 years old and had built half of humanity's space infrastructure with her own designs. Now she was taking it all apart. Status report, she said calmly. Her assistant, Engineer Tae-Woo Bang, looked at his screens. New Seoul colony is 80% evacuated. All terraforming equipment is being packed. The atmospheric processors are already on transport ships. Du-Yan nodded. Through the bridge windows, she could see the massive operation happening around New Seoul. Hundreds of ships moved between the planet and space like busy insects. But these were not ordinary cargo ships. Captain Jae Sung-oh commanded one of the huge arc ships that hung in orbit. His ship, the New Hope, was 5 kilometers long and could carry 10 million people. But it looked different from any ship the Mao galaxy had ever seen. Parts of it seemed to shimmer and fade as if it was not completely real. Engineering report, Jae Sung said to his crew. Dimensional anchor is stable at 60% reality, said his engineer. We can carry full population. Load while existing partially outside normal space. Jae Sung smiled. The aliens thought they knew about human technology. They had no idea. Human ships did not just move through space. They moved through reality itself, stepping between dimensions like a person walking between rooms. On the planet, below the evacuation was like a dance that had been practiced 1,000 times. Families packed their most important belongings, but they left the furniture behind. The replicators could make new furniture anywhere. Children carried pets and favorite toys. Adults carried data tablets with the sum of human knowledge. But the most amazing thing was what they did not leave behind. Governor Min Ho-shin watched from his office as the terraforming equipment was carefully removed from New Seoul. These were not just machines. They were controlled black holes, each one smaller than a marble but containing the power of a small star. In the wrong hands, they could destroy planets. All gravitational manipulators are secure, reported his aide. The atmospheric processors are being deconstructed. Even the soil enrichment systems are coming with us. Minho looked out his window at the forests and rivers of New Seoul. This planet had been a dead rock 20 years ago. Now it was beautiful, with blue skies and green trees. But without human technology, it would slowly die again. What about the wildlife we brought, he asked. All native Earth animals and plants are being collected. The ecosystem integration programs are being downloaded. Nothing that depends on our technology will be left behind. This was happening on every human world. 200 colonies were being evacuated at the same time. Every piece of human technology was being carefully removed. Every advancement that humanity had shared with the galaxy was being taken away. The aliens watching from their observation posts could not believe what they were seeing. On the Xanthari monitoring station near the Vega system, Commander Zexathara watched human activity through his sensors. His three eyes blinked in confusion as he tried to understand what the humans were doing. "They are not just leaving," he said to his aide. "They are taking everything, even things that should be impossible, to move." "What do you mean, Commander?" "Look at the orbital factory above New Tokyo. It is 300 kilometers long. It should take years to dismantle. But watch." The aide looked at the screens and gasped. The massive factory was folding into itself like a piece of paper being crumpled up. In 10 minutes, something the size of a city became the size of a small ship. "How is that possible?" the aide asked. "I don't know," said Zexathara quietly. "I don't think anyone knows." The same thing was happening everywhere humans had built something. Space elevators that reached from planets to orbit were being collapsed into small packages. Mining operations that had changed the shape of asteroids were being packed up and moved. Even the communication networks that had connected human worlds were being carefully taken apart. Dr. Bo-Ra Park supervised the evacuation of her research station on Mars. This was where humanity had made some of its greatest discoveries. The quantum consciousness transfer technology, the dimensional folding drives, the gravitational manipulation systems that could move planets. "Are we taking the prototype dimensional gate?" asked her assistant. "Everything," said Bo-Ra. "Every experiment, every discovery, every piece of data. The aliens will get nothing from us." She looked at the readings on her tablet. Human ships were not just moving through space now. They were moving through time itself, using technology that made the aliens' fastest ships look like ancient sailing boats. The Exodus was not just impressive because of its size. It was impressive because of its speed and precision. Humans were not running away in panic. They were executing a plan that had been prepared for years, just in case something like this happened. Admiral Wu Jin Lee stood in the main command center on Luna, coordinating the movement of entire fleets. Screens around him showed the positions of thousands of ships across the galaxy. "Fleet 7 has completed evacuation of the Centauri colonies," reported Captain Sora Kim. "All personnel and equipment are aboard ARC ships. Departure in 6 hours." "Fleet 12 reports successful extraction from the Outer Rim," said Commander Dongsik Park. "The mining worlds are clean. No human technology left behind. But the most amazing thing was where the humans were going. Long-range alien sensors tried to track the human fleets, but one by one they simply vanished. The ships did not fly to the edge of known space. They did not head for empty star systems. They just disappeared, as if they had never existed at all. Captain Jae-sung-oh stood on the bridge of the New Hope as it prepared to leave the galaxy behind. His ship carried 10 million humans, but it was not crowded. The dimensional folding technology meant the inside of the ship was much bigger than the outside. "All passengers are aboard," reported his first officer. "All supplies are loaded. All systems are green." "Course laid in?" asked Jae-sung. "Yes, sir. We're not just leaving this galaxy. We're leaving this dimension of space-time. The coordinates are for a parallel reality where the laws of physics are more friendly to human technology." Jae-sung nodded. Most aliens thought there was only one universe, one reality. Humans had discovered there were infinite universes, infinite possibilities. They were not just leaving the galaxy. They were leaving for a place where they could build something better. Admiral Lee's final message was broadcast to every alien monitoring station in the galaxy. "We came in peace," his voice said clearly. "We shared what we could. We asked for nothing but room to grow. You chose fear over friendship. Don't look for us. You won't find us until we are ready to be found." Then one by one, the human fleets activated their dimensional drives. Reality bent around them like water around stones. Space-time folded and twisted, and humanity disappeared. The aliens left behind stared at empty space where human colonies had been. Where great cities had stood, only natural worlds remained. Where massive space stations had orbited, only empty space remained. Where quantum communication networks had connected the galaxy, only silence remained. It was as if humanity had never existed at all, but in hidden dimensions, in folded space-time, in realities the aliens could not even imagine, humanity was building something new, something the galaxy had never seen before, something that would change everything. 6 months after humanity vanished, the galaxy began to understand what it had lost. Trade Minister Sun Ho-Bei had tried to warn them. In his final report before the Exodus, he had written careful words about how connected everything had become. But the aliens had not listened. They thought humans were just one species among many. They thought the galaxy would be fine without them. They were wrong. The first sign of trouble came from the Melkari trade networks. Captain Velkathi was commanding a cargo ship between the Melkari homeworld and their colonies when his quantum communicator stopped working. "Engineering," he called into his comm unit. "Why is the communication array down?" "It's not down, Captain," came the reply. "The network itself is gone." Velkathi did not understand. "What do you mean, gone?" The quantum communication network that connected all the trade routes was built using human technology. We maintained it, but the core systems were human-designed. And now, the engineer's voice trailed off. Velkathi went to the engineering section himself. What he saw there made his fur stand up in fear. The communication console was dead. Not broken, not damaged, just completely lifeless, as if it had never worked at all. "How long has it been like this?" he asked. "It started failing 3 days ago," said the engineer, "but we thought it was just maintenance issues. Now we know the truth. The human systems had some kind of timer. After 6 months, they just stopped." This was happening all across the galaxy. Every piece of technology that humans had shared or helped build was shutting down, not breaking, not wearing out, just becoming completely inert. On the Zenthari homeworld, 3 colony worlds sent desperate messages before going silent. Without the agricultural systems that human scientists had designed, their crops were failing. The fusion reactors that powered their cities were shutting down one by one. Commander Zexathara stood in the emergency meeting of the Zenthari High Council. His 3 eyes showed the strain of sleepless nights. "The humans planned this," he said to the council. "Every gift they gave us, every technology they shared, every improvement they made to our systems, it all had hidden programming. After exactly 6 months, it all stops working." "Can we fix it?" asked the High Counselor. "Our best scientists have been trying for weeks. The human technology is not just advanced. It works on principles we cannot understand. It's like trying to fix a computer when you don't know what electricity is." The High Counselor's skin turned pale blue with worry. "What about reverse engineering? Can we build new versions?" Zexathara shook his head. "We have tried to copy their quantum drives for 40 years. We still don't understand how they work. Now we realize why. They don't just use advanced science, they use completely different science." On the Ophidian collective worlds, the situation was even worse. Their economy had grown to depend on trade routes that used human-maintained jump gates. Without those gates, travel between their worlds took months instead of days. Collective. Speaker Cytharian addressed the emergency assembly of his people. His snake-like body coiled with tension as he spoke. "The humans have crippled us without firing a single shot," he said. "Our ships cannot reach 3/4 of our colonies. Our communication systems work only within single star systems. Our economy is collapsing." "What about the other species?" asked a voice from the collective mind. "Surely they will help us." "They have their own problems," replied Cytharian. "The Melkari banks are failing because they cannot process transactions across their network. The Zenthari are facing famine on their outer worlds. The Vorthak mining operations have shut down because their equipment was human-designed. But the worst was yet to come. Dr. Kilthera was the galaxy's leading expert on human technology, or so she had thought. She worked for the Galactic Science Council, trying to understand how human devices worked. For years, she had been frustrated by her inability to truly comprehend human science. Now, she understood why. The human devices don't just follow different engineering principles, she explained to the Emergency Science Committee. They use different physics. Their quantum drives create pockets of space-time that should not be possible. Their computers process information using quantum consciousness that we cannot replicate. Their terraforming tools manipulate gravitational forces in ways our theories say are impossible. But surely some of it can be understood, asked Committee Chairman Vorthak. We have been trying for 6 months, said Dr. Kilthera. Every piece of human technology we examine leads to more questions. It's as if they discovered scientific laws that we never knew existed. The truth was becoming clear across the galaxy. Humans had not just been more advanced, they had been more advanced in ways that other species could not follow. While aliens had spent centuries perfecting their existing technologies, humans had thrown out the rulebook entirely. On Earth's former colonies, the planets themselves were starting to change. New Sol, once a garden world with blue oceans and green forests, was slowly dying. Without the atmospheric processors, the air was becoming thin. Without the soil enrichment systems, the plants were failing. Without the weather control networks, storms were destroying the remaining cities. Governor Valthek of the Melkari Colonial Authority stood in what had been New Sol's capital city. The empty buildings stretched for miles, but already nature was reclaiming them. Vines grew through broken windows. Rain pooled in streets that no one maintained. How long before it's completely uninhabitable? He asked his science advisor. At current rates, 5 years for the atmosphere to become too thin to breathe. 10 years for the ecosystem to collapse completely. 20 years for it to return to the dead rock it was before humans terraformed it. Valthek walked through the empty streets and tried to imagine what this place had been like when humans lived here. 10 million people had called this world home. They had built schools and hospitals and parks. They had raised families and pursued dreams under alien stars. Now it was becoming a tomb. The economic collapse was spreading faster than anyone had expected. The Melkari banking system, which had financed trade across 40-star systems, was failing because their quantum transaction networks were down. Species that had not directly used human technology were still affected because they depended on trade with those who did. The Galactic Council called emergency sessions every day, but they could do nothing. Council Prime Veltharion looked older than his 800 years as he addressed the half-empty chamber. We have sent messages to every known human settlement, he announced. We have offered negotiations. We have offered apologies. We have offered anything they want if they will just come back and help us. What response have we received? Asked a Zenthari delegate. None, said Veltharion quietly. It is as if humanity has vanished from the universe itself. But humanity had not vanished. They were still there, watching from their hidden dimensions. Seeing everything that happened, Dr. Bo-Ra Park stood in the observation deck of the research station New Harmony, built in a fold of space-time that aliens could not detect. Through quantum viewers, she could see the galaxy they had left behind. The economic collapse is proceeding as predicted, she reported to the Council of Human Leaders. The Melkari trade network has lost 60% of its capacity. The Zenthari colonies are requesting emergency aid. The Ophidian Collective is facing civil unrest. President Kyungsoo Jang, now leader of humanity's new civilization, watched the screens with mixed feelings. Any signs of military action against our former territories? None, replied Admiral Youngmi Choi. They're too busy dealing with their internal problems. Most species are recalling their fleets to protect their own worlds. What about attempts to reverse engineer our technology? Dr. Park smiled sadly. They're still trying, but they're looking for advanced versions of their own science. They don't realize we use completely different principles. It's like asking a child to understand poetry when they're still learning the alphabet. The truth was that humans had evolved beyond what the other species could comprehend. While the aliens had spent millennia perfecting faster ships and better weapons, humans had learned to manipulate the basic structure of reality itself. But the most surprising discovery was still to come. Long-range sensors detected something at the edge of the galaxy, energy signatures that did not match any known phenomena, gravitational anomalies that suggested massive construction projects, signs that something huge was being built in the empty space between galaxies. The aliens who detected these readings did not know what they meant, but they were afraid to investigate. They had learned to fear the unknown, and the unknown, they were beginning to realize, was where humanity had gone. In their hidden dimension, humanity was building something that would change everything, something that would show the galaxy what they had really lost when they chose fear over friendship, something that would offer one final chance at redemption. 5 years had passed since humanity disappeared. The Galactic Council chambers looked very different now. Half the seats were empty. Many species had withdrawn from galactic politics to focus on their own survival. The great hall that once buzzed with the voices of 47 species now echoed with the desperate whispers of 23. Council Prime Veltharion was older and thinner. His green skin had lost its healthy glow. His forearms moved more slowly as he tried to maintain order. Among the remaining delegates, the galaxy was dying and everyone knew it. Then the impossible happened. Ambassador Tae-ho Kim walked into the chambers. The hall went completely silent. Aliens stared as if they were seeing a ghost. Tae-ho looked exactly the same as he had 5 years ago, but something was different. His eyes held a depth that had not been there before. His movements seemed more graceful, as if he existed partially in several dimensions at once. Behind him walked 2 other humans. Captain Soo-jin Yoon wore a uniform that seemed to be made of liquid starlight. Science Director Gi-hoon Nam carried a tablet that showed images of impossible things. Stars arranged in perfect patterns, planets that existed in multiple realities simultaneously, ships the size of moons. "Honored delegates," said Tae-ho, his voice carrying easily through the huge chamber. "Humanity returns with an offer." Veltharion's voice shook. You came back." "We never left," said Tae-ho calmly. "We have been watching. We have seen what happened to the galaxy in our absence. We have seen the suffering. We have seen the fear. We have come to help." A Zenthari delegate stood up, his 3 eyes blinking, rapidly. "Help? You destroyed our trade networks. You crippled our colonies. You left us to die." Tae-ho's expression was patient but firm. "We took only what was ours. We shared our technology freely for 50 years, and you repaid us with ultimatums and threats. When we left, we took our gifts with us." "Your gifts were killing us," said a Melkari representative. "No," said Captain Soo-jin Yoon, stepping forward. "Our gifts were keeping you alive. Without human agricultural systems, your outer colonies could not feed themselves. Without human fusion reactors, your cities had no power. Without human communication networks, your civilization could not function." She gestured, and the air above the chamber filled with images. They showed the galaxy as it was now. Trade routes broken, colonies abandoned, species retreating to their homeworlds. You became dependent on human technology without understanding what that meant, continued Soo-jin. "When we left, you discovered that your civilization had grown beyond your ability to maintain it." Science Director Gi-hoon Nam spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet, but it seemed to come from everywhere at once. "We did not abandon you to be cruel. We left to show you the truth. The galaxy you built was not sustainable without cooperation, without trust, without friendship. So you let millions die to make a point?" The question came from an Ophidian delegate, her snake-like body coiled with anger. "No," said a new voice. The chamber's screens flickered to life, showing the bridge of a ship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Admiral Youngmi Choi appeared, but she looked different. Younger. Enhanced. Behind her, impossible architecture stretched into dimensions that hurt to look at directly. "We let you choose," said the Admiral. "We showed you 2 paths. The path of fear, where you tried to control what you did not understand, and the path of cooperation, where different species worked together for mutual benefit. You chose fear. This is where fear leads." Veltharion leaned forward desperately. "What do you want from us?" What can we do to fix this? Tejo smiled, and for the first time, it was a warm smile. We want nothing from you, but we have something to offer you. The chamber's main screen activated, showing something that made every alien gasp. It was a galaxy, but not their galaxy. This one was brighter, more organized, more beautiful. Stars were arranged in perfect spirals. Planets orbited in harmony. Massive structures connected star systems like bridges of light. We have spent 5 years building this, said Tejo. Not just a new galaxy, but a better one. One where species cooperate instead of compete, where technology serves life instead of power, where fear does not govern progress. That's impossible, whispered Dr. Kilthera, the galaxy's foremost expert on human technology. No one can build a galaxy. Science Director Gi-Hun Nam looked at her with patient eyes. Dr. Kilthera, you have spent decades trying to understand human technology. Have you succeeded? She shook her head reluctantly. That is because you keep looking for advanced versions of your own science, said Gi-Hun. But human science is not more advanced. It is completely different. We do not just use technology. We have become technology. We do not just manipulate matter and energy. We manipulate reality itself. The images on the screen changed, showing the construction of the new galaxy. Humans worked alongside massive machines that existed in multiple dimensions. They moved stars like chess pieces. They created planets from pure thought. They built civilizations that spanned not just space but time. How? Asked Veltharion weakly. President So-Young-Ro appeared on the screen. She had led humanity through their transformation, and now she looked like something between a human and a force of nature. 50 years ago, when we first joined the Galactic Council, we thought we were just another species among many, she said, but we learned something the rest of you never did. We learned that the universe has no limits except the ones we accept. While you perfected your existing technologies, we threw away everything we thought we knew and started over. We learned that consciousness and reality are connected. We discovered that time and space are just suggestions. We found that matter and energy are the same thing, and that thing is information. The screen showed human children playing in gardens that existed in 7 dimensions simultaneously. Human scientists conducting experiments that created new laws of physics. Human artists painting with light from stars that had not been born yet. We became something new, continued President Ro. Not just human, but more than human. We transcended the limits you thought were absolute. But then came the most shocking revelation of all. Dr. Haiyun Yu, humanity's new head of temporal sciences, stepped forward. When she spoke, reality itself seemed to listen. There is something else you need to know, she said quietly. The past 5 years, the collapse of your civilization, the suffering of your people, the fear and desperation you have experienced, none of it had to happen. The chamber went completely silent. We did not just build a new galaxy in the present, continued Dr. Yu. We built it in the past. Everything you have experienced since we left has been happening in a timeline we created to show you the consequences of your choices. The implications hit the aliens like a physical blow. Several delegates collapsed into their chairs. Others made sounds of confusion and terror. You mean, began Veltharion. We mean that we have mastered time itself, said Dr. Yu simply. We created this timeline to let you experience the results of choosing fear over friendship, but it is not the only timeline. It is not even the real timeline. The screen showed images of the same galaxy, but different. In this other timeline, humans had never left. The Great Evacuation had never happened. Instead, humans and aliens had worked together, building wonders that neither could have achieved alone. In the original timeline, said Dr. Yu, you made a different choice. When faced with fear of human advancement, you chose to embrace cooperation instead of demanding control. Together, we built a civilization that spanned the galaxy and reached into other dimensions. But we wanted you to understand the full consequences of both choices. So we created this alternate timeline and let you live in it. We wanted you to experience what happens when fear governs decisions. Tejo stepped forward again. Now you have experienced both possibilities. You know what cooperation can build. You know what fear destroys. The question is, which future do you want? The chamber erupted into chaos as aliens tried to understand what they were being told. They had been living in an artificial timeline. Their suffering had been real to them, but it was just one possibility among infinite possibilities. "What are you offering us?" asked Veltharion, his voice barely a whisper. "A choice," said Tejo. "You can stay in this timeline and try to rebuild what you have lost. Learn from your mistakes. Grow stronger through suffering. Eventually you might create something good. Or you can join us in the galaxy we have built. A galaxy where fear does not rule. Where different species work together because it makes everyone stronger. Where technology serves life and progress serves wisdom. But if you choose to join us, you must leave behind the old ways of thinking that created this crisis. No more councils that make decisions for others. No more trying to control what you do not understand. No more choosing fear when you could choose friendship." The silence in the chamber was complete. Every alien delegate stared at the humans, trying to understand the magnitude of what was being offered. Finally, Veltharion spoke. "And if we refuse? If we choose to stay in this timeline?" Tejo's expression was kind but serious. "Then you will face the consequences of your choices, just as every species must. We will not interfere again. This timeline will continue on its path, and you will have to find your own way to rebuild."